So this is one item that we wanna, because we still have this problem. So this is one of the item that we wanna set in here. So you see this one, we had a placeholder for the GitLab connection name. So we can first edit this file and say the GitLab connection name. Now we give it a correct name, what we called GitLab. So that should solve that problem completely. And then we can now, in here, we can create some environments, like just say we can literally create an environment variables. I don't know if it's good. Let me just save this and then open it in Web IDE so that it becomes much easy for visibility. Yeah, so even after saving that, still I can rerun my, and say build now and just see if my connection error is out, just to confirm that was the only remaining bit to be sorted. Let me see here. Why can't I see this? Yes, let me reload this. Yeah, perfect. Yes, so I have this thinking code. Okay, yeah, so I have this in here. So I can say in here, so we have set the name in here. So let me just confirm build now. Is it building really? Let me see. Yeah, this one is building. So you'll see our connection error will be gone now, because at least we having committed the Jenkins file. Now you see we are seeing the new edit that we did that initiated that. And then let's try if we can spot that error again. Yeah, so it's just saying fail to update GitLab commit status, forbidden, full stack Jenkins, blah blah blah. So it tried at least to access, and no more that error for connection not configured. So we are making progress. So in here, let me just create some environment variable. So how we do it is just, you just say inside this, you just put it in the same line as the options that you're having. Then I'll just say environment, then I can just say server IP. So I'll initialize this to make it much easier to be seen, or rather used within my app. And then my server IP was this one, 139. You remember our server IP where Jenkins is lying is 139.49, blah blah blah. So that will be my IP. So I'll just put it in there, and then say there's also the target path where I need to have my app deployed, and that one will be this over here. So I'll put it as a static text so that I can easily change it. Then I'll say SSH credential ID. So SSH credential ID, you remember the credential that we created on our app. So let's go and find it. That credential that we created on this pipeline of ours. So let's go to configure. Then, but that one also you can see it on, if you go here on the settings and then you go to credentials, I think you're able to see that. So I'll just open the global system wherever, and you'll see it here. This is the credential, the ID for our GitLab API token that we created. So this is the ID that is required. So I'll just grab it. I don't know how I can grab it easily in here. Just grab it like that and say, this is what now we had as our Jenkins SSH credential ID that we had. But now, wait a minute, because this one we want for SSH, so I can, so this is the GitLab token, sorry, and what we want is for, let me see, so global Jenkins node username, and yeah, so in here I'll need to say this SSH username with private key. So I'll need to create these from my machine. I'll need to create these and add it onto my server, because the other one was for Jenkins and GitLab personal access token, but I'll need to create a key in here for my server. So we can use keygen to do this, and then we'll add it on our Ubuntu server in here. So let me just try and do it, if I remember well how it was done using the keygen. So I can just say in here on my terminal, I can just say SSH, I think it's SSH keygen. Sorry for the just say first I'll just move to the .ssh folder to just make, because all my keys are here. So I'll just say ssh then keygen. Even I think I can find one of the commands in here instead of struggling, because it's supposed to be. So let me just find one of the command that I have in here. Yeah, perfect. So I can pick something like this one and say I wanna ssh keygen, and then I'll tag it as I wanna use RSA, and then I'll do a configuration for Samson and Nami, and then this will be the length of my key that I wanna create. So it's just creating a private key and a public key that I'll use to SSH. So once I have that, I'll be able to give it a name. So I just say tap on that, and then it will ask me, it will prompt for enter file name for the key. So I can just say full stack forge tutorials tut key, for example, something like that. Paraphrase, I'll not put it because I want to use it within my pipeline. So I'll just enter and enter twice. So that one, what will happen is it will now create this key for me with that particular name, these ones. So you'll see if I do a list of these, you'll see these two keys have been created, the public key and the private key. So what I need to copy here, I think it's a public key. Let me see how it looks here. So what I want to need to copy first is the public key. Then this public key, now I'll go to add it onto my GitLab that is in here. So let me see. So in here, I'll need to add it inside. So let me first go to SSH and see what we got. I'll say that SSH. All right, so I needed to do that. So yeah, so there's this file, which is just one file in here called authorized keys. This one, this is the file that I want to add my keys into. So just clear that and say vim authorize keys. Then in here you'll see I already have one key, so I'll just add another key. So using vim, I'll just enter and paste my other key here that I copied, the one that I just copied from my local machine, the key that I just created. So I'll have those two keys, and then I'll save that. So having that, then that's now my key that I've just picked. So I'll now come and copy my private key. So I'll just quit this, and then I'll pick my private key in here, and then I'll copy from end to end. So you can even use cut to copy so that it can copy it well. So I'll just quit this, and then I'll just say even cut ff tutorial, and then I'll now pick this from end to end. So I can pick it from here, end of private key, to the beginning in here, and just copy, or even you can use the copy command, then copy this. So that's my private key that I need to add on to my GitLab, or rather my Jenkins. So just say SSH key with private key, and then I'll just say here Jenkins node blah 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 scope. So I can say everything etc global, and then I'll give it my ID. So you remember this ID that was required here, SSH credential ID. So I can just call it SSH credential ID. Just say SSH credential ID. So I'll just call it that, or whichever other ID that you think you can give it, and then say Sam's ID credential ID. Maybe I can say Sam's, something like this, Sam's credential ID, and then you have the username. So the username that I'll do, so I can try to log in with that first to see if this key actually works, but because I've copied it, so I'll just say enter private key directly first, and then just add, and then I'll paste it in here first so that I don't lose it. And then we can also test this key first before, so that we know the user that we'll be using to login. So I can just say SSH using the key of FF whatever, and then I can say try root at this IP address. So just try my IP address in here. Just copy this IP address here, the public IP address, and then I'll try it out .this, and then I'll see. So let's see. It will ask me, do you want do you want to continue connecting to this server? I'll say yes. Permanently add this, the address, and then boom. So in here, we have been able to successfully connect. So we know our key is working and we can now access our machine. So in here right now, I'm on our machine, and you can see even if I say list whatever was there in var, you can see we have this full stack tutorial. So it means our SSH key is working. So after confirming that also our user is root, so we can just use that to do our configuration. So you can just say inside here on Jenkins, you can just say our username was root. Though it's not recommendable to use the root login, but you can still configure another user and use them to log in into your server. I can also say treat this as secret, and then paraphrase. You didn't put any paraphrase, so that is it. And then we'll just need to copy this and say this SSH credential ID, or maybe I can say some SSH credential ID. So I'll just copy this and then I'll save this. So once you save that, here is our SSH key and we have our ID now well created. So we can come back here on our code and say our credential ID is called this. So that's it. We'll be done with our environment variables, and now we come here to now do. So this one you can say this one check out the main branch. That's what we can give it as that. And then we say the steps that we want it to do. So first is we want it to check out of GitLab CSM. So we can even do we can just do this afresh and say we want this one to check out of GitLab. So I'll just open and close and then say give it some variables here. So I'll just say my class that I want it to run from is zit sem. So you can find different kind of configuration for this. Then I can say branches, or rather the branch that I want is in this name. Then I'll say it's just anything to do with /main is what I want to pick. Then that's it for the second one. And then user remote configs need to be this. So I'll just say the URL. I'll just pick the URL to my GitLab repo. So this one I'll just pick it from this. Let's say this, I'll just copy it from here, or rather this HTTPS. Then that's what I'll just put in here inside quotation, and then I'll just say credentials ID. Credentials ID is, so in here remember we had our credential, so we can now pick the second GitLab ID that we had here. You remember this some GitLab token, or you can use GitLab credential, either whichever one that you want to use in there. So I'll just pick this. I'll just use this token. So I'll just say credential ID is some GitLab personal access token. Then that's it. So I'll go next to now. That's so it will. This is already the checkout. So I'll go next to now my next stage for deploying, because I don't have this build or stuff like this. This one I can just say this one is my deployment, or deploy files to my server. I can just call it like that, and then say once I deploy these, what do I need, or rather what are the steps that I need to happen. So first is I want it to update GitLab commit status. So it will just update that status and have a name and stuff like that. So I'll just want it to have a name of deploy, and then the status, it will say this status is pending. So that's the initial stage. So after that, then I'll want to use something called SSH agent to enable me to now SSH directly to my server. So I'll just say here I'll put the credentials. Then these credentials will be now my environment. You remember what I set in here? My environment dot my credential ID, SSH credential ID. So I'll just say that dot credential ID. That's what I'll pick. Then using now this agent, now I'll run as a bash, or rather a script in here. So I'll put these triple quotes to just highlight all the commands that I want to run in here. And so this is where now I run my rsync command. Remember I said you can use rsync or secure copy, that is SCP, to do those, but for me I'll just use rsync, and then I'll just put some command to say copy all files, and if the file does not exist, you can literally verbose, and then you can literally overwrite any other file that does not exist. And then I'll just say this, I'll put this option to delete, so that if I've deleted my file on my repo, then do the same on my server. I'll skip to the next line, and then I'll put some exclusion. I can put some exclusion. So there's a lot of commands that you can put in here, but for this one I'll just say maybe exclude maybe the git folder, or maybe I can just say exclude the env file, the config files and stuff like that. You can exclude all those items that you don't want to use. And then where the source of my files is the current directory that I am, which is the GitLab directory, the home directory of the main. If you have your files, maybe you want to copy files from another path, you can literally put that path in here, and then space, and then you say now this is where we have. So this root also, you can just put these users an environment variable in here, but because I know it's root, there's no need. And then I'll just say pick the server IP now here. So you can just say put these, or maybe put these on here and say SSH user in here, and then you say this is root. Then we'll just copy this and say, probably instead of this, you just say the SSH user. So what you'll use to SSH, and then add my server IP in here. There's this one, I'll just say SSH, and then my server IP in here. And then after that, I'll just say add my now target path, which is this path that you want to put our items on. So just say target path in here. So it's separated by a full colon, and then that's it. So this one should be able to SSH into our server and rsync, or rather copy this file or synchronize this file. But I know it might ask us for an SSH agent. I'm not sure, but we'll just check it out. Then after that, so we are done with this. No need for this. If you want to put some more blah 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 and some more verbals on this, but I'll now not have any deal with that. We don't have a testing stage for that, so I'll just skip it. And then I'll say lastly, give me either, if it's success, give me success. If it's failure, give me failure. And then that will be it. I'll be done with my file. So I'll put this one in the description below, so that you can be able to play around with this file and see. Now using your particular server, you can play around with this. So I'll commit this and say update Jenkins file, and then I'll commit this and continue. So let me see what will happen. Yeah, perfect. So let me just confirm on my JIT, everything is okay, are working as expected. So I'll just refresh my JIT, and then now I should be able to see my file updated. Yeah, very well. And so I can test it again. And then now the last step will be now to make it follow a trigger from our GitLab repository. So let's build it now and see if it will copy our files. And then if that goes successfully, our last option will be now to automatically, or rather to automate that trigger from our server. So let me see, we had number 4. Let me see, number 5 has failed. Let me see why. So a couple of problems in our file. For example, this one, I think we needed to have a $sign here, and then another $sign here, then another $sign here, if I'm not wrong. Yes. And then we need to see here branched. It needs to be branches, and then you select that branch for the main branch. I think that's what you need also to do. Let us see what other mistakes we are having in our so the finally will be also our credential is not now. This credential, I don't know why it's saying this credential is not found. Let me try and see where it is and is. Go here, let's say global, then find this. But this credential is here. Anyway, let me try to pick this GitLab credential to see if I'll have a different experience. So let me just pick this and try first, and then we'll go back to the PA token, which is giving us problems. So we just do this You can even duplicate it, and then let's try it as this trial again. So this is another trial. Let's see if we'll have some differences in our GitLab CI/CD. So I'll just come back here and then tap on front end, and then I'll tap on rebuild. Let's see now. So I can even start checking on it and see if everything went successfully. Using recommended tool is non-credential GitLab credential. Let's see GitLab repo. So this credential worked, but let's see where this problem is. So first, let's try to first. There's this plugin that I told you we need. This is SSH agent. I think we need first this plugin, because either way we cannot go past this SSH agent. So we'll just go back to our Jenkins and then go to plugins. Then we'll just search here on available plugins. We say SSH agent, because that's the unique thing that we are doing in our pipeline. So install this agent, and then I should be able to, and then restart Jenkins. And then also, as Jenkins restarts, I want to create a new token with the new permissions. So let me go here. Let me go back here and say edit profile, or rather preferences, and then I'll go to personal access token. Then in here, I'll find this token of ours, and I'll say, what will I do? Let's just revoke this and then create a new one. We'll call it Forge. So add new token. So we'll just call it Forge GitLab token. That's it. So remember this name because we'll use it. Then I'll just say this is full stack Forge GitLab token. So in these permissions, I'll give it read repository. I don't think the other one I had it. I think I confused and said read user. It needs to be able to read the repository. It can read the registry. It can have this read API, and then this API. This is the key one. Grant complete read and write access to the API, including all groups of project, blah, 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 blah. I think that one is very key, and then that's it. I think with those permissions, this one now will work. In writing, we don't need it to write. We just need it to read. So create this token, and then in here, I'll just try to paste this token of mine somewhere so that I don't forget the name. Remember to remove it, and then I'll copy now this new one. Then I'll go to Jenkins, and then in here I'll just say go back to the top page. Don't know why it didn't restart Jenkins, or it restarted, you didn't see. I think the plugin is already installed. Let's just confirm this plugin is already in. So just go to plugins, and then or installed plugins. Rather, I'll just say available plugins and then say SSH agent. SSH agent is not here, so I think it is installed. SSH agent. Yeah, so I think this is already installed. I don't know. The plugin is up looking for blah, 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 and stuff like that. Okay, that's okay. So let's go here on our credentials, and then go to global credential. Then this some personal access token. I want to revoke this. So, or rather, I can even change it. But let me just delete this. Then we can create a new credential. So you can just say add credential. We say GitLab API token. That's the correct one. Then the scope is global. Then API token is this, what I've just pasted. Then ID, I'll just try to keep it the same as what we had here. I'll just say Forge API token to avoid confusion, and then I'll just say this is full stack Forge GitLab token. All right, let's create that. Yeah, then that should be it. So we'll use now this full stack Forge inside our Jenkins file. Let me see. So this was it on the token? All right, so it was on the pipeline. Sorry. So I'll just come back here on Jenkins, and then I'll say pipeline. Then I'll say configure. inside configuration, I'll just say yeah, here we go. Here we go. Credentials in here. I'll just say, where was this one? Okay, this one was for GitLab. Test was alright. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I think we are okay. So some couple of items that I've done on my, I don't know what we are doing wrong, but some couple of items that I've done is in my Jenkins file. So I've updated my GitLab credential in here, and I also created a variable on the same. Then I used this variable in here. That's the only major change that I've done on my file, and now our pipeline has successfully gone through. So I'll put that code in that public directory so that you can check it out. So you can see we have all these done, Jenkins, and this one, all these Jenkins and README are synced to our server. So let's see if our server has our latest update, and then now we do now the triggers. So let me see, where's my server? Here we go. Am I still in? Yes. So let's go to this file. Where was it? It was called full stack forge, and then I can list. Perfect. So here are my files, and if I try to like open this index file, you can see we have our text. Let's do this inside our index file. So let's try now to do the triggers. So where do we start with the triggers? Remember we said we can do triggers on two ways. So we can do triggers either, so here on GitLab, let me show you. So you can go to this particular project. So you can go to my groups, and then this project of mine in here, full stack forge, and then I'll open this. So inside here, what I can say is two items we can do. First is we can go to setting, and then we do an integration, or we can do a webhook. So there's integration and webhook. So in this webhook, I'll just show you a general view of this. So you just come here and then add a new webhook, give it a name, give it a description, and then this URL, you remember the URL that we had on our Jenkins, remember the URL that we had on our Jenkins setup? That was, we had that one inside here, inside system. And also now, also you can even, yeah, we have this in here, but the complete one is even in our Jenkins. Let me just see. When you go here to configure, I think there's a place I saw it in here. Yes. So this is our URL, the webhook URL. So you can still use this webhook URL. You just copy the entire stuff, and then you put it in here, and then you put some descriptions here, and then you create a secret. So this secret, then you'll use it now to either say you want to push trigger to all branches, you want to blah 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 and stuff like that, you want to check on merge requests and stuff like that. So you can create a hook basically, so that when you push some code in here, it will automatically go or be deployed. Let me know in the comment below if you want us to do a deep dive onto that. But what I'll be using is this integration. I like to use integration because it's much straightforward and easy to use. So you just tap on integration, and then you come to GitLab. No, Jenkins, sorry. You just come to Jenkins. I think it should be somewhere here. Yeah, you come to Jenkins in here. So GitLab already is supporting these integrations. So inside Jenkins, you just say enable integration. You put it to active, and then trigger on push. You can also push that trigger on merge request, and then tag push, blah 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 and stuff like that. So this Jenkins server URL still the same. You'll just paste in the URL that you are having, the same item, and then you can don't enable the SSL verification, and then you'll have your project name. So in here, I think this one will go up to project, and then let's see, project name, username, and then password. So this one you can just put your, let me use this. So this is the hook that we want to use, and the project name will be now our project. I think it will be our project. This for real. No, I'm not sure. Let me check. And then we go. Oh, I think here there's something we are doing wrong. So this needs to be now. This is our project name. So in here, we don't need to replicate this. We just give it the Jenkins server URL, because URL of the Jenkins server, this is the URL. And then .enable, and then the project name will be now our pipeline name, which is this pipeline name in here, like the same way we have the pipeline here. So leave this. Yeah, this pipeline name is what we'll give it here. And then username now is your GitLab user, and then password is your GitLab password. I think that's my password. So I can test settings. So it's supposed to give me a success or failed integration, blah blah blah, unauthorized. I think password is wrong. You are not. Yeah. So sorry. So here we have the username of the Jenkins server and the password of the Jenkins server. So what did we call it? We call it terminator. Sorry for that. And then in here we put the password to Jenkins, with that particular username. So let's see. Yeah, perfect. So this connection works. So we can successfully connect to our Jenkins server. So we'll have our URL, our project name, that is our pipeline, and then we activate this integration, and then the trigger will be a push and merge request. That is straightforward. So after testing this, I'll just save this, and then now we can try out to push something to our project. So let's see. So on our Jenkins front end, we have number 13 as the last one. So let me try a push request, and I see even it has some updates already. So let me just push something here and say, let me update this file and see. I wanna have this as digital file, and then I'll just say here version 1.0.0.1, something like that. Then I commit this and save. So I'll just commit to the same branch, and then I wait to see if my pipeline will pick it up. Perfect. So here is where it's now pending, started, finished, waiting. Let me see. So automatically I push that change. You'll see at 10:41 started by pushing this on to blah blah blah. Then this pipeline has already completed executing. So I can go now to my server and just confirm if everything is as expected. So I'll just try this, and I'll just try to reload and then see. So just want to see if my server has now the latest code that I just pushed onto the GitLab. So I'll just go here and just go to my this is called it, I think, full stack something, then list. Let me just clear this, and then I'll just say cut index.html. Yeah, so here we go. So we have our version 1.0 updated, and let's do this. So that's our update. So basically that's how you do GitLab Jenkins integration from grounds up, starting from the installation up to now the deployment. So you can do that. You can still add some more commands on this stage. For example, you can just put some new stage here and say a build stage. If you're deploying a Spring Boot application, you can say you have a build stage whereby you're building the project, you're cleaning it up. If it's Laravel, let's say you're cleaning up the cache, you're cleaning up the product, you're running some migration, some seeders, and then finally you're optimizing the app for production, and then that's it. Even you can do that in a separate folder, and then you copy it into another different path, or rather a deployment path. Yeah, so that has been it. Let me see, or let me know in the comment on what part exactly excited you, and what other part that you want me to put more. Remember to subscribe and share this video so that we can learn together in this community. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one. Peace.